Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's going on, Cavs fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Block the Shot the Stop. I'm Skylar Webker. Joining me tonight, Tim Daniel. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to come back here.
It's always fun to have you. Kevin is on vacation with his family. Well-deserved, well-earned. So thank you for stepping in. I know you have 1,000 shows going on, but
okay.
I want to give you a second to tell people where they can find you, both this Cavs season and beyond.
Yeah, so covering the Cavs on the postcast for Locked On Cavs. I have basically, just like we did here last year, basically about 10 to 15 minutes after the final buzzer, I'm live recapping the game. That's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast of choice. Just subscribe to the Locked On Cast feed and you'll get me there. Also do the same thing for the Reds on the Reds postcast for the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. I'm there after every Reds game doing a 15-20 minute show, just recapping the game. So same thing, Locked On Reds feed, whether it's on a YouTube or your podcast app of choice. And so, yeah, just doing those all the time now. But it's fun. I'm enjoying myself and, I'm happy to have both things going on and, the paycheck looks a little nicer.
No doubt. So, Tim, as we get into it, this West Coast swing, the final leg of the season, the Cavs come out like you would expect against the Jazz, a team that is actively being investigated for tanking. Yes. So, good to have that win at least.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's still kind of like that's a tough place to play. You know what the situation is for the Jazz with the altitudes, so really hard for people, and obviously it's just a whole different environment. That's a crazy fan base. It has been for a really long time. It's actually talked about in The Last Dance that Marcus Jordan and his brother weren't allowed to go to Utah during the finals because of the fans. But yeah, the team-wise, you're 100% right. The Cavs did what they were supposed to do. They went and took care of business, and Evan Mobley looked incredible. I think that's the biggest thing that jumps out of that game is that if you're getting that performance from Evan Mobley, it's going to be a really hard Cavs team to beat. And then Donovan Mitchell, that same thing, which, he always wants to put on a show there. And it was cool to see how much he was still loved in Utah because he had asked for a trade. It wasn't like, he didn't do the whole, I'm holding out if you don't trade me thing. He just kind of, so hey, I think my time here's come up basically. Obviously leaves on good terms. There's the video that the Cavs put up of him kind of walking around the city and seeing some people, and he's signing autographs at the game. He's signing old Jazz Donovan Mitchell jerseys. So I thought it was really cool how much he was still beloved there. For us, it's no surprise because we watch him on a nightly basis, but I thought that was still neat that his old team still kind of really appreciated him.
No doubt. They definitely have a better feeling about Donovan Mitchell than they do about Rudy Gobert.
Yes.
That's to say the least.
I think that's just society in general. Yeah. But
pretty close.
Yeah. I don't know. I like what the Jazz are doing
up
there. I think they're starting to put a good roster together and they're going to be fun in a couple of years.
They will. I think so. I mean, they still have a pretty deep war chest of draft picks as well.
Yes, most importantly.
Yeah. I agree with you. Getting back to the game, though, that this was the Evan Mobley kind of a wrecking crew game. Not only does he get it done on the defensive end, which is kind of what he's the standout in, with 3 blocks, 17 rebounds, gets 34 points along the way, kind of puts that can do both sides game together. Yeah. And looked really good playing with Harden, where Harden, Kevin and I have talked about it, where it seemed like there was a forced connection there whenever Jared Allen went out that never clicked quite right. But it looked good in this game. Harden with 14 assists in this game looked really good, just facilitating the ball to everybody. And I know it's the Jazz, but it's good to see that production out of your starters this late in the season when you still don't quite have your team all the way together just because of the injury season that this
Yeah.
Cavs team has faced.
Well, you know what I'm going to say to that? The thing I always say about when people try to talk about the competition, they also have an NBA patch on their uniforms as well. That's the thing I always kind of go back to, where you can't help what your opponent's roster looks like. You can just always play who's in the same league as you. So, I'm never going to poo-poo a win. I'm never going to talk down on a win. So I'm always going to be, appreciative of that. But, the thing that really jumped out to me the most when you look at that box score, Skylar, and obviously watching the game and, doing a show on the game, 21 shots by Mobley, no threes. And so I understand the idea that, we've heard this for years now, where Evan Mobley needs to learn to shoot threes or he's not going to be successful. Like he's pretty damn good. He's probably, on his best day, a top 15 player. Obviously, he was all NBA last year for a reason. Worst day, maybe a top 30 player. I don't know. He was pretty bad in the Laker game. I know we'll get to that. But I feel like for him, that's the conversation always comes up. But like for me, I don't mind if it's a weapon for him. I think it's a good thing to have if people don't guard him. If he can get like back to knocking those down like he did last year. But on the block or like on the nail and just kind of taking over the paint, give me that Evan Mobley all day, and I'll be content.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there are times where you can tell he's forcing some aspect of his game and probably being asked to force those aspects of his game, where if you get him back to brass tacks, which is get inside, cause havoc. That's what he's really good at doing. And we saw it a little bit in the game before this Jazz game where he was able to play off of the chemistry and rhythm and pick and roll action that James Harden and Jared Allen play together. He was able to play kind of off ball of that, which worked really well. And that was one thing I was really excited about in the previous game. Was really hoping that same thing would translate to the Lakers game. It did not. So we can turn our attention to last night's game against the Lakers.
Because I obviously did a show in the game. I watched the game in its entirety, which, when you do what we do, you have to. But I'm not convinced the Cavs cared about winning or losing that game. I really not, because their effort didn't say so. I don't think they're necessarily worried about, they could have tied the Knicks for the 3 spot last night had they won. But the Knicks have the tiebreaker, so it's still been really hard to jump them. They're pretty well ahead of the 5 seeds, so they know they're going to have home court advantage. I don't really think they cared last night. I don't think that, obviously they wanted to win, but I don't think they left there like, oh, rats, we let that one get away. We're in deep trouble now.
I would agree that it wasn't a dire situation or anything.
Right.
I would say out of all of the games in their schedule or remaining in the schedule, that's the game where you
that I agree with.
Have as much expectation or pressure on you because you know what the narrative is about you and James Harden once it comes to the playoffs. That is the closest to a surefire playoff team that you're going to face the rest of the season. So that's something that I was like, I was hoping to have a better game because of all those things and maybe ease some stomachs around those storylines and narratives that are around this team right now.
That I totally agree with what you're saying. It definitely was the closest thing to a postseason environment. I'm kind of mad because they had a 4-game win streak against the Lakers going into that game. So it was, I really wanted to keep that going. But also Luka, I don't care if the Cavs did try last night, they were probably still losing because Luka was having one of those days. But yeah, I certainly wanted to kind of see the emphasis pop up, but I get it, man. So they played in Salt Lake City on Friday night. And then right after the game was over and they did their media and whatever they had to do, got on the plane immediately and went to Los Angeles. That's not easy. And then, the good thing is when they got to San Francisco, they got to San Francisco last night after the Laker game. So they had today to just kind of chill. It wasn't like, you're constantly making the move around. So, that's kind of where things were with that. But yeah, man, it's just, this West Coast situation, this West Coast games suck. They're obviously shorthanded too. No Max, no Jarrett, like they've been all year. But I don't think it really hurt a whole lot in the long run. Like you said, the only thing that really hurts is like that's the closest they're going to have to a playoff environment.
They did have Max and Jared for this Lakers game. They didn't have those guys for the.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have those guys for Jazz. I don't know if they're going to.
Jared was really good the Laker game, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have him against the Warriors.
I have not received the email release yet for the Warriors game for the notes, so I don't have an update for you there. I do know that the Warriors will be missing, obviously, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody, Gary Payton, Kristaps Porzingis, Quentin Post, Guy Santos. So I don't know if they're going to have enough guys to play a game, but
we saw earlier this season how the Cavs lost to.
I don't feel bad for anybody.
Warriors.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for anybody because we went through it. So
for sure, I some of the performances in this game, though, I think you got to call out it. I don't know if there should ever be a game where Evan Mobley only takes 4 shot attempts.
Agreed, and I think that's his fault. I think that's the coach's fault, and I think that's the other player's fault. I don't think this is a single Evan Mobley problem in this game. Yeah, he was bad. Yeah, LeBron owned him, like flat out owned him. But at some point, you have to think someone, the coaching staff goes, didn't he just drop 34 last night? And I get it's a different opponent and a different level of competition. Okay, we should take advantage of that. And they didn't. They just didn't. And like I said, that's why I don't think they cared. I really don't think they really cared if they won or lost last night.
It kind of seems like that because everybody's numbers are down in whatever statistical category that they are a merchant in. You know, James Harden, 3 assists.
Yeah.
When does James Harden ever have 3 assists and 3 turnovers and plays nearly 30 minutes? That doesn't happen. Donovan Mitchell only shooting 40%, taking 10 shots. We already talked about Evan Mobley only taking 4 shots. Jared Allen, though he was good offensively, got good, but wasn't really quite there on the defensive end to clean up anything at all.
Sure. That's understandable coming up with a knee tendonitis and
yeah. And like you said, coming off, Luka is having an absolute heater this month. I mean, 42 and 11. Not much you're going to be able to do to stop that Luka paired with ultimate role player mode LeBron, which is what he's kind of turned into this season, along with AR-15, Rui Hachimura going off and everything like that.
God, yeah. What was it? So last night, the Lakers had it was like their ultimate milestone game. Did you see this?
Do I?
So last night was like a big milestone night for the Lakers, just like individually and team-wise. So Rui Hachimura crossed 5,000 points for his career last night. Luka crossed 15,000 for his career last night. Also crossed 600 points for the month of March. JJ Redick got his 100th win. That all happened last night.
That's crazy. You're right. It is a milestone night for that team.
Yeah, and then LeBron became the winningest player of all time. He passed Kareem for most wins.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, storybook kind of night for the Lakers, and look, they have a great team, and they're looking to make some noise in the playoffs because it's kind of been a few years since they've gone any distance in the playoffs as well. So though there are the similarities with the Cavs here, I do think the Cavs have a different light on them than the Lakers do, though the stories and the statistical things around the playoffs have kind of been the same the past 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. So the Lakers went to the conference finals. What was that? The year that they traded for D'Angelo Russell at the deadline. The year they traded Russell Westbrook. And then, the next couple of years got eliminated in the first round. So, yeah, you're right. And though, when you watch this Lakers team, it really jumps out because they were atrocious for most of the year defensively. If you remember when they went to Cleveland and played the Cavs ran them out the gym. Something happened. They just flipped this switch defensively, and they are locked in defensively now. And I think that's the thing that jumps away. Luka's never going to be a really good defender. You're just not ever going to expect that from them. But LeBron played Mobley so well last night. And you saw Austin Reeves do a really good job, whether he was on Mitchell or Harden. I thought he was really impressive on his defense as well. And then Rui just kind of being that two-way guy. Not that Rui's never going to be confused for an all-pro defender by any means, but did the job last night. And, the Cavs certainly missed shots, don't get me wrong. But I think I saw today the guy who had the best numbers guarding Luka was Naquan Tomlin.
Crazy.
Yeah. I think he was the one who held him to the least amount of points and shot attempts. But yeah, man. So it's just kind of where they're at defensively. The Lakers are really impressive. I don't think they could beat Oklahoma City or San Antonio. I just think those two teams are just so much better than everybody. And I can't do it anymore. But if I could have in my old life, I wouldn't put money on it. Wouldn't guarantee it.
No, I agree with you. I think they are a good team. They're also trying to erase kind of the narratives around them as well. I think this is a night where you really miss a Jalen Tyson to be on Luka throughout the night. Not that he's gonna, get Luka to what he did in the last time that they've matched up. But I think you get him at 32, maybe 30 instead of 42. You change a few possessions here and there. I don't know if it changes the game outcome, but maybe makes it a little bit more enjoyable to watch.
Sure. And the other part is that, like you mentioned, Jared Allen defensively wasn't all there. And that's to be expected when you're kind of still dealing with the knee tendonitis that he said he's still working through. But DeAndre Ayton had 5 offensive rebounds in that game. And not that DeAndre Ayton, for everything he's not, he is a solid offensive rebounder. So that was but to kind of see Jared Allen not be competitive on the glass like that was definitely surprising.
I would agree. I think there's some more to this knee thing than what is being led on, and I'd rather not see Jared Allen on the floor for the rest of the season and have him right for the playoffs, because I think to do what you need to do this offseason or to this playoffs, you need everybody. And that's why you traded for James Harden, because you needed somebody durable and sizable outside of Darius Garland. And so look, I've said it before, the Cavs kind of push all their chips in right now. So they need to see the fruits of that to get Donovan Mitchell to sign an extension this summer. You don't trade away your 24, 25-year-old?
25, 26 around there, yeah.
You don't trade your 25-year-old all-star point guard that you gave a max extension to without like really betting on this. Like they need this to work out.
Yeah, absolutely they do. And you know what? Here's the thing about it. I obviously was not pro the Harden trade. I have really enjoyed Harden on this team. I think he's done really well. But I think you can say two things are true, because he has been great. And Darius Garland, since he's gotten his old step back, looks awesome. And I will never root for the Clippers by any means, but I'm very happy for him to kind of see him really kind of evolve. And that Clippers team's kind of fun, even though I never want to see the Clippers win. It's I hope they lose and Darius Garland scores 50. That's my Clippers goals every night. But I'm really happy to see him playing well, and I think he's going to be so good there. And I think that the Clippers are going to be a really good situation for him, whether Kawhi's there or not next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I want nothing but success for Darius Garland. And there are things I like about the Harden trade. I don't think you can look at this Harden trade and be like, home run.
No, and that's okay. That's okay though. Like everyone kind of seems like, that's the thing we do with trades. It's always like, well, who won the trade? Like both teams could come out, hands up. Like, yeah, the Cavs shortened their window, but they're, like you said, they're pushing the chips, and where the Clippers probably extended their window a little bit post Paul George. We know what the future looks like with Kawhi, whether it's he's a member of the Clippers next year, whether he does get suspended, whether they face a penalty for all this stuff. But getting guys like him, getting guys like Ben Mathurin, like the Cavs trade is a fairly even trade, in my opinion. The Pacers trade, I think the Clippers robbed them. And I love Zubac. I think Zubac's a really good player. But the fact that, like, even if they don't get the pick this year, they're going to get a pick in the future. They got Ben Mathurin, who, like, if you remember, I was talking about, I would love to see him on the Cavaliers. And Ben Mathurin's a guy who's not afraid to play physical basketball. which the Clippers are going to need playing in the Pacific Division. Yeah, man, it was. I think that they really owned the Pacers on that trade.
I would agree, and like I said, there are a lot of things I like about the James Harden thing. I like the playmaking ability. I like the durability.
For sure.
Don't like the pace, and I don't like the defensive effort or the lack thereof. Because
most nights
he does a lot of ball watching.
Yeah, most nights for sure. But it seems like there's some games too where he really does lock in. So if you go back to that New Orleans game, that they won when he hit that comeback, he's guarding Zion and doing pretty well, honestly. But yeah, you're right. And that's been his way his whole career. It's a lot of just kind of, slowing the game down, being methodical. But he's so smart too that, with his basketball IQ and Mitchell's ability to kind of make things happen and Mobley's athleticism, I feel like he's really good. He's like a chess player. Like he really knows like the ins and outs of what to do here. So we're also just talking about the fact he's been here 23 games. What's it going to look like when he has a training camp? Like what's it going to look like when, he has a full off season to like work with Donovan Mitchell and crew to get ready for the 26-27 season. Because like you said, the window's short. They're trying to get Mitchell to sign an extension. There's reports that Harden's likely going to sign a 2-year, $75 million extension. So yeah, this is the Cavs. This is who they are. So maybe there's a, King playing with them next year, but
so we can all play even slower.
Yeah, but they'll probably win 55 games if they do. Or like 50 and then like get the 2 or 3 seed and win the East. One of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying. To echo Kevin, who I know will listen to this while he's on vacation, to echo Kevin, I agree with him that I don't think they have the team around a Harden style basketball. Like they have all these, like Jared Allen is an excellent rim runner, Evan Mobley, a young athletic guy, Keon Ellis, young athletic guy. Like they have
I love Keon
horses that want to go up and down the court and play with pace, and that's not Harden's game. To what you said, he is the chess player, the mastermind of trying to figure out how to break it down. And I just don't think they have the guys around them that play in that style. And those may be things that get ironed out in an off-season training camp and getting familiarized, not ironed out in 20 games.
For sure. Yeah, it's a process for sure. But I think that they've done, you got to be pretty impressed with how they've played with him while they're trying to figure all this out. They have bad nights for sure, but most nights, like you feel pretty good going to the game that they're going to walk out with the win.
Yeah, I would agree. You have confidence in this team that they're going to win more games than they lose. I still need to see it all together. I think we've gotten 3 games with both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
Yeah, with James and Donovan. Yeah, it's been I think going into when Jarrett came back last week in that Friday game, I think they had played 36 minutes combined together.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound like all those Brooklyn Nets fans when they were telling me that KD, Kyrie, and James Harden was all going to work if they could just all play together. I can't have that as a crutch, but
it did work when they played
kind
together.
of is.
Yeah, that was awesome when they played together. It just was I think 20 games they had to combine 3 and 2 seasons.
Yeah, with a thousand reasons and everything like that. So
yeah,
I'm curious what looking ahead, like you said, the Warriors are going to have no one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the injury report now, and it is very full. So I'm curious who will play, because that they're going to have the injury management stuff on Strus and Jared Allen and anything like that. But really, they just need one win, and they clinch. So
yeah, can
they just beat the teams that are ahead of them?
I think so, because you're looking at especially that they're gonna at least win one of the next 2, probably both. When you look at Golden State and then Indiana, and then next week you have those 2 games with Atlanta where you ideally split at the minimum with those, just so you don't risk a chance that Atlanta goes on a run. I think it's sort of a 4-game difference right now, So if the Cavs win 3 of the next 4, then they're all set going into that Wizards game on the final game of the year. So yeah, I'm looking at it now just to make sure I have my numbers right. Yeah, okay, right. Because had the Wizards beat the Sixers tonight, the Cavs would have clinched, but the Wizards gave up 153 points to the
defense optional.
Yeah, albeit they scored 131, but yeah. So the Celtics are scary, which I really hate. Oh, no, okay. So sorry, I had my games mixed up. So yeah, it's Golden State. It's a weird schedule too because it's Golden State on the road to wrap up the road trip. You go home for Indiana. The next night you go to Memphis to play the Grizzlies. You come home to play the Hawks. You go to Atlanta, and then you think you're home for Washington the last game. So I don't think the travel mileage is fair to the Cavaliers here, but thankfully they will have a week off before the playoffs.
Yeah, the rest of their games are every other home away. Home for the Pacers, away for Memphis. Home for Hawks, away for Hawks. Final game of the year against Washington. Just take care of business against the G League Warriors.
Yeah.
Take care of business against the G League Pacers. Beat the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are half a G League team now at the end of this year too.
Yeah, Ty Jones been really good for them.
Do what?
Ty Jones actually been really good for them if you paid attention.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Makes me miss it.
I know it really does. Especially because like you obviously the guy that decided to get for him, it didn't work out though. Sam's been really good. I can't say anything bad about Sam by any means.
No, Sam's been good, and I'm hoping we just see tired legs out of a lot of those guys on the bench, like a Dennis Schroeder and anything like that. And hopefully these guys are able to kind of piece it together for the playoffs because they need to do something. It can't be a first-round exit. It can't even be a second-round exit. They got to get to Eastern Conference Finals at a minimum, finals, and win it all at obviously a maximum.
For the sake of my bank account, if they would like to play 7 games in each series and win them all, I would be very content with that.
Get a little kickback on every single game.
Yeah, right. But no, you're right, man. So it is 11. They're up 3.5 games on the Hawks right now as we're recording this, and the Hawks are not playing tonight. So with 5 games left,
and you win 2 of their last 5 to seal it.
Yeah, so I think that's doable for sure because the schedule's the Wizards, the Pacers, and the Warriors. So even if you get swept by the Hawks and you win those other 3, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, I would agree. So I like that we're getting closer to the playoffs where every game, I don't want to say matters, but you got to at least beat the teams ahead of you by any means necessary. Like theoretically, the Cavs should sweep out the rest of the year. We know that it's the NBA. It never happens that way, but
right.
Just lock yourself in, get the home court advantage, and kind of get to work, get to business, get to what we've all been kind of waiting for since this season tipped off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still really excited about this team. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm not super nervous whatever happens. Like you said, I feel like if they are in a situation where they have a second round matchup against the Pistons, I feel good about the Cavs in that situation just because I don't know if the Pistons can handle being there. We don't know what's going to happen with Cade. We don't know what's going to be like when they have to play a half-court offense in the playoffs. And we're well aware how JB Bickerstaff coaches in the postseason when he really has to win every chance he gets. So I like the Cavs' chances in that case. Not saying I would guarantee they'd beat them, but I feel like the Eastern Conference Finals is a good situation. And if you get Boston and New York to beat up on each other and they go 6-7 games, then you got a shot there. That's all you can ask for.
No doubt. So before we wrap up out of here, we like to close the Wednesday shows with Dad's Talking Cavs. This is your free parenting advice. Your dad wins, your dad losses. Take it from us. Tim, what do you got?
So a little more of a somber one, but as you texted me about this yesterday, but my younger sister has passed away about 9 years ago, and so my daughter knows of her. My daughter's middle name is my younger sister's first name, so she's kind of her namesake. Had never taken her to tombstone before. She'd never been to her burial. So we went yesterday, and she got so I was like watching kind of the wheels turn in her head and her putting two and two together of who she is and what she means to our family. And it was honestly like a really cool experience because like I haven't dealt a lot with those emotions, not to get too emotional here by any means, but kind of finally had a chance to kind of like get a little healing out of all that. And it was really fun. And we wrote notes and like on orange balloons, which was my sister's favorite color. We let them into the sky. So it was a lot of fun, man. And it was something I really needed.
That's awesome. It's great to have that connection in this life and beyond. So that's super awesome.
Yeah. So I was happy.
For me, I think mine's pretty simple. Everybody gets busy in their lives and work lives and everything like that. And my wife has been on this on working out and just being good and healthy and bettering herself, which I think everybody should. I'm on the train of I need to do something because I don't move my body enough, but kind of counteracting that, me and my son, we just went and got McDonald's for dinner tonight. Like it was awesome. Like I remember as a child going and getting McDonald's and getting a Happy Meal and anything like that. So to be able to share that with my son, even just something little like that, like can't have the toy, like literally saying the things that my parents told me, like you can't have the toy until you eat it all, like can't have the whatever. It was just like a full circle moment and really cool to experience like just little stuff like go and get McDonald's.
Yeah, I can give you a lot of tips and trades on the on McDonald's and how to make it a really great experience for you and your son. And also the app. The app works wonders. You use the app, you never pay for fries.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. So for that, we'll get on out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please continue to support us by listening to the audio version of this podcast. It really does help. It's absolutely free. It's on every single platform. Continue to subscribe to the YouTube version of this podcast as we continue to grow content over there. And follow us online. We love fan interaction. And follow Tim online. Follow everything. Follow everything. So for that,
maybe not everything.
For that, I'm Skylar Webker. He's Tim Daniel. We'll get out of here. And as always,
go Cavs.